أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد النبي الأسعد الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Let's wait a bit for people to join, but for those of you who have, welcome to, well, our very first live session in at Muslim Mastery, I think. Well, the very first live session for me, at least. And well, I'm glad you're here. Honored to be here, to be honest. Alhamdulillah. So, while you're here, Bismillah, if you can tell us in the chat which country you're coming from. Like, where are you watching us from tonight? I always want to see, how far in this community we go, how far this community itself stretches. Subhanallah, because in the program we have people from all over the place. We have people from the UK, we have people from the US, we have people from all over Asia, even Africa. So I would love to see where you guys are turning from. So please, can you go in the chat and type where you're watching us from tonight? I myself, I'm from Tunisia, but I've been living in Japan for the past 3 years now. Alhamdulillah, it's been such a blessing, honestly. And subhanallah, one of the coolest things, especially that I've seen recently, is how easy it is to find halal food and restaurants here. And that wasn't the case when I first came here, but it started happening more and more these last 2 years. Alhamdulillah, subhanallah. Now it's just everywhere. I think it's a reminder that when we hold onto our values, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes the way easier for us. Alhamdulillah. And it also shows the impact of Islam on Japan. Like, subhanallah, so many Japanese people are becoming Muslim right now, and so many Muslims are coming to live in Japan. Alhamdulillah. Now, while you guys are answering us in the chat, let me just say that what we're doing today is just a small taste of what we practice every single week inside the Confident Speaker Lab. That's where we actually train these skills together, confidence and communication. We do role playing, we give feedback to each other. We really build the muscle of confident communication. We do this every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. UK time. And I'm going to tell you more about that, inshaAllah, later. But for now, it's maybe better to focus on today's topic. Maybe let's just wait for a little bit more people. Oh well, I guess people will join as things go. So I'm going to kick us off with a little story, and maybe start with a question. So this question is for you. Have you ever been in a situation where you're on the phone, maybe with a family member, or maybe you're sitting at a family gathering, and before you know it, you've agreed to something that you didn't even want to do? Maybe it's taking on extra responsibilities. Maybe it's attending an event when you're actually exhausted, or maybe it's just lending money when you weren't comfortable doing it. And while this was happening, the whole time you can hear your heart screaming no, but your mouth, you just said yes. And then you'd spend the rest of the day or the rest of the event frustrated, drained even, and maybe a tiny bit, little bit resentful. Does that sound familiar? I know in my culture that's something that happens a lot. And if you're nodding your head right now, well, you're in the right place. Because today we're going to unpack exactly why people keep crossing your boundaries, especially in family settings, but also at places like work, and more importantly, what to do to stop it. Alhamdulillah. So, still waiting on some comments, guys, but maybe it's me, maybe it just can't see the comments. Or maybe you guys just need some encouragement. Well, the comments would encourage me a lot. In the meantime, let's get back to our topic at hand. So, the reason you feel drained and taken advantage of or guilty every time that you try to say no, well, you'll be surprised to know that it has nothing to do with being weak or maybe being too nice. It's mostly because your boundaries are invisible to others. This is something that happens a lot. Actually, it's happening all the time. And it shows up most with our families. Because, like I said, in many of our cultures, saying no to family, it feels almost impossible, right? Like you you feel like you're always expected to say yes, even if it costs you your peace and your time and your energy. And we think it's a religious thing, but really it's not. It's just a cultural thing. Like, think, for example, about a parent or a sibling asking you for something, and you say yes, even though you're overwhelmed and really want to say no. Or, for example, an aunt or an uncle makes a comment that crosses the line, and you don't respond. You stay silent out of respect. And even, relatives pressure you into a decision that you don't want to, that you don't agree with, and you go along because you want to avoid conflict. This is something, like I said, it happens all the time in our cultures. But the dangerous part is that the more you let people cross your boundaries, the more resentment you start feeling inside. And why this is dangerous? Because at first, it's small. You just feel maybe drained a bit, maybe disappointed, a little bit frustrated. But that feeling doesn't go away. And over time, that frustration and that resentment, well, they grow and they grow. And then the more it happens, the more it grows. And we deal with family all the time. And we probably say yes when we meant to say no a lot. And so what happens is it starts eating away at the whole relationship. And suddenly you wake up one day and someone who used to be extremely close, like a cousin or a brother, even a parent, becomes someone that you don't even want to talk to anymore. You still love them. Obviously, they're a family. But inside, you've also grown to resent them. And the worst part, it's not even really their fault. It's the silence. Because you never stopped them. You never said, this is not okay. You kept saying yes. And while doing that, you taught them that this behavior was acceptable. So, how would they know that you're not okay with it when your actions keep saying the opposite? And you basically kept encouraging them to keep doing so, thus building the resentment and hurting your relationship with them. And so the painful truth is this: when you don't protect your boundaries, you end up destroying the very relationship that you wanted to protect. That's harsh. Honestly, this is why so many people joined the Confident Speaker Lab. It's one thing to understand the problem, but it's another to actually practice the words and the conversations that change it. And that's the practice that keeps resentment from turning into broken relationships. Okay, now, Bismillah, let's take a breath. Because some of the things that I've said could be heavy for you, especially if you're actively suffering from something like this. And most of us probably are. But it's a real pain point for a lot of us. But the good news is that boundaries, we can learn them. But then you tell me, yes, but boundaries, why would we do that? I'd rather still be respectful of my family, and I don't want to hurt my relationship. But boundaries don't hurt relationships. That's what you have to understand. Boundaries do not destroy your relationships. Boundaries actually protect relationships. What do they protect them from? That resentment and that frustration that naturally builds whenever you say yes when you actually meant to say no. And the problem is that most of us totally misunderstand what boundaries actually are. So let's talk about three key truths about boundaries. First of all, something very important to understand is that boundaries are not walls. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of people think that setting a boundary means shutting someone out or being selfish. And that's not it at all. A boundary is more like a fence. It's not about rejecting people, they can still try to jump. It's about making the relationship safe. It's about making sure that the people understand where we stand. And when you and the other person both know where the line is, that clarity, it creates respect. And then it's a matter of enforcing the fence, but that's something else. But now the other person can't just say that they didn't know that we had this boundary, because we are communicating them very clearly. And in case of emergencies, people can still jump over the boundaries, like they would jump over the fence. But they would have to clearly communicate that too, that there's an emergency. So that's the first thing. Boundaries are not walls, they're fences. The second thing is that people ignore what they cannot see. So, sorry about that. People ignore what they can't see. So, If you don't clearly express your limits, then how will they ever know? Every time you say yes, you're teaching them that it's okay to keep asking. And most of the time, they are not trying to hurt you. They just don't know any better because you haven't said anything. You've just encouraged them by letting them do it over and over again. And the third thing is that guilt keeps you silent. Guilt keeps you silent. We're often afraid that saying no, especially to family or close family, will hurt their feelings or make us look ungrateful. But the opposite is true. People respect what you respect. Maybe they won't like it at first, but they respect that. When when you respect when you respect yourself enough to say, I love you, but this is my limit, you're teaching them to respect your limit too. And the core idea I want you to take with you is that boundaries don't break connections, they actually protect them. Because without boundaries, resentment eats the relationship alive. But if we add boundaries and if we empower them and respect them ourselves, well, we create a space for love, for respect, for honesty to actually grow. And that's the real difference between a relationship that drains you and a relationship that nourishes you. You place those boundaries, you communicate them clearly, and now there's no place for resentment anymore. And that resentment doesn't get built up, and that's a whole different relationship that you now have with your family. Subhanallah. Having said that, this clarity is powerful, but it only sticks when you practice it. And that's why in the Confident Speaker Lab, we we don't just learn these truths. Like it's not sessions where we do theory. We practice them. We role play, we try the exact sentences, we get feedback on our communication. And it's one thing to nod your head here, for example, on a YouTube live where I can't even see you guys, but it's a whole different thing to actually say, yes, this is my limit to a family member that you love. And that's where the lab makes all the difference. So if you're interested in that, check our description and you will find the link to the Confident Speaker Lab. And we'll talk more about it later, inshallah. Now, well, now I wanted to get more practical, by trying to hear from you. But so far, I haven't had any answer in the chat. But I'm going to be. Oh, UAE. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. Perfect. Thank you so much, Sieda Madina Sultana. Well, I'm going to ask another question. Bismillah. Just bear with me because it's my first live. Oh my god! I meant to remove the question, and I actually remove our only comment by Siedna Medina Sultana. I'm so sorry. It's just technical things that happen in the life. I guess it'll make us understand each other, and make me understand more how this works as this goes. But I wanted to ask you guys that are here, what's the hardest boundary for you to set with your family? Like, for example, I want you to think about your relationship with your parents or your siblings or your cousins. what is something that is really hard for you to say no to within your family? And can you please type that in the chat? And maybe we take some time to answer these. Okay, I finally found the comments, and it was actually my issue. For some reason, the comment section wasn't showing, but I guess I can see it now. Alhamdulillah. Let me then add our new Q&A. Good. I'm learning. I'm learning something with you guys, just like you guys are learning. Alhamdulillah. Learning together. So the next question, like I said, what's the hardest boundary for you to set with your family? What do you guys think? So it's the Q&A that let me not see you guys' answer. Okay, let's end that and just focus on the chat. Financial support. Okay. So Sneem says financial support. Absolutely. When someone asks you for financial support, it's very hard to say no to. Anything else? That's a very good example. Anything else? Anything else, guys? What's the hardest boundary for you to set with your family? Is it maybe just saying no when they ask for something that you cannot give? Is it speaking up and saying, I disagree, without causing a fight? We all have a lot of stuff like this. Or is it simply asking for some personal space and time without feeling guilty about it? Like asking for, I have a friend who was building his business, but he was having tough issues focusing on his business because everyone in his family kept asking him to do things, and then his aunts and his cousins and kept asking him to come and help them with stuff. And he's a nice person, so he would always go. He wants to feel helpful, but then 6 months in, he figured out that he never has time to focus on his business because he's always every day going out and helping his aunties or his uncles for some things that other people could do. So there was literally no space for them. Subhanallah. 6 months, that's a long time. So if you go ahead and type it, this is a safe space, so be honest. I guarantee you're not the only one struggling with this. All of us are struggling with this, and that's why I chose this as the first session. It's so important. Usually, by the way, when I ask these kinds of questions in the lab, for example, or in other settings, a lot of people would say that the hardest thing would be saying no to parents. And yes, that's a big one. And then the next issues would be cousins always expecting favors, or needing space but feeling guilty. That's one that I mentioned earlier, and that's such a real one. So while you guys are answering in the chat, hopefully to get more answers, I want you to think about this for a second. The last time that you didn't set a boundary, what did it cost you? Like, literally, what did it cost you? Did you lose energy? Did you feel frustrated? Did it affect how you felt about that person afterwards? I really want you to think about this. It's important. I tried coming up with a description, but it seems that it includes anything that lends parents' ears. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I 100% get you. So think about that. The last time that you failed to say no to one of your parents, did you feel that frustration? Did you feel, even between yourself, did you feel frustrated by it? 7 month work trip, half my savings. Yes, yes, definitely. Overthinking kills me more when I set boundaries, as I am a people pleaser. Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one. But maybe it's not about setting boundaries, it's about how you set boundaries, because like I said earlier, there's a lot of guilt that comes with the idea of setting boundaries, because we think these people are going to be angry at us, these people are going to resent us. But you have to flip it on its head. You have to understand that if you don't set boundaries and you don't respect them yourself, you're hurting the relationship more than you're protecting it. Maybe your family members would not necessarily like, they want, of course, I want you to bring me something, or to give me some kind of help. You say no, of course I'm not going to like it, because I'm not going to getting the help I need. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop loving you, or i might I might respect you more in on the inside, and then I might stop asking some things of you, and that doesn't mean that I love you. It means that I have more respect for you, and it removes the environment where resentment is built. And that's why boundaries are so important, because resentment is the relationship killer. It's the number one relationship killer. People who don't speak to their parents anymore, it's because they resent them. And there's a whole generation of people on TikTok talking about how they resent their parents for everything that they did to them, because of this. And people will always have expectations from you, but it's only because you didn't teach them what to expect. And that's the role of boundaries. You set your boundaries, you set your fence around your house, and that's a clear communication of, this is what I want you to expect from our relationship, from what I can do with you and for you, and when I can help and when I cannot help. It's that clear communication that protects the relationship. And these relationships are so important for us, but also in our religion, in Islam, subhanallah. We have to protect these relationships, right? We have to protect them first from ourselves, from our resentment, from our frustrations that we might feel. And that's why boundaries are so important. I hope that I answered that question about overthinking, because that's a really, really good one. What I want you guys to understand, boundaries are not about pushing people away, they are about protecting the relationship from resentment. And communication like this is what we practice inside the Confident Speaker Lab. If you feel like this is something that you're having trouble with, then I really, really advise you to join us, because we take those exact scenarios that you just typed, and we role play them, and we get feedback on them, we get encouragement, we help each other. There's a whole community. It's an incredible place to be. So the next time you're in that situation with your family, you'll already know what to say, and you'll be prepared, and you'll have practiced it, and that's what makes the change stick. Now, oh subhanallah, it's already 30 minutes. Subhanallah. Okay, so I hope that now you have understood why it's important to set these boundaries and how much they help us in our relationships. Now, I'm going to need you guys to get some notebooks because if you guys are not taking notes, this right now would be the best time to take notes because I'm going to share some practical tools on how to set proper, healthy boundaries for yourself and for your family. It's important to get practical. This is about giving you guys value. Okay, so I'm going to assume that we can take notes now. So before you can even set a boundary, you have to be super clear on what that boundary is. So, how can you enforce something if you yourself don't understand it? It doesn't make sense. And so, we're going to do two quick mini steps together right now. Okay. So, grab your note or your phone, a piece of paper, and I want you to write down three things: situation, feeling, and need. Okay, I want you to write situation, feeling, need. Now I want you to ask yourself, when did I say yes but really wanted to say no? Situation. Like, where do I usually feel drained or taken for granted? Where does that happen? And what what would I have needed in that moment to feel respected? Okay, I'm going to say it again. When did I say yes but really wanted to say no? What would I have needed to feel respected? Where did you feel that you should have set the boundary but you didn't because it was hard to say no? Now take what you wrote and turn it into a clear sentence that should start with I need. Situation, feeling, need. I need you to respect my house and not show up uninvited, for example. Let's not even go there. Let's just talk about the feeling itself because we're trying to find our proper boundaries, right? So I need people not to show up uninvited and without telling to the house because things are not as good as I want them to be. Maybe they're going to see things that I don't want people to see. Maybe I'm having a lazy day, you know, or I need you to respect the fact that I'm not going to give you that amount of money because I myself am in need right now, or I need time to work on my business, like the guy that I was talking about earlier. What do you need? Once you have that, once you have that, it's important to say it clearly for yourself. Okay? And there's a simple template to use. Okay? When you dot dot dot, I feel dot dot dot, so I need dot dot dot. Like some examples for family to say something, communicate a boundary, but also keep it calm and respectful and coming from a place of kindness. Because remember, it's not about opposition, it's about respect and protection for your relationship with that person. Okay? So, an example would be when you call late at night, I feel overtired the next day. So, I need us to talk earlier, inshaAllah. So, please don't call late at night anymore, unless it's an emergency. See how different that is? And did it feel unkind? What about when I have certain choices and comments are made about my choices? I feel pressured. So I need us to leave that topic for now. What about when I am asked for help without notice? I feel overloaded. So I need at least 1 day's heads up in order to be able to plan ahead. Does this sound like too much? This is a natural boundary. And maybe that's part of the resentment. Maybe you say to yourself, they should know this. Why would they call for help every day? They should know that it's not normal to do that. But that's the thing, they don't. They don't because you never told them. They have different expectations. Sister Tasneem, they have different expectations of you because those are the expectations that you've trained them to have. It's not their fault. Expectations are things that we clarify together. How? Boundaries. So find your boundary, write your sentence that starts with I need, say it for yourself out loud. Okay? Just say it. Say it again, more slowly. And that's how your voice and your body starts to learn it. Okay? That's if you're in a setting where you're by yourself. So I'm going to challenge you this week to something simple. Just use your one sentence one time. Just one time in a low stakes moment. And then afterwards, I want you to try to notice three things: how you felt, how they responded, and what you might change next time. Because you're not going to do it the right way the first time, and that's okay. That's part of practice. Making mistakes is important in order to learn. And that's where the support comes in, because that's exactly what we practice inside the Confident Speaker Lab. We we take that one sentence that you wrote, for example, and we do a quick role play. We try kinder version or a firmer one. We try to find the right tone. You and while you're doing that, you're getting real time feedback, and that makes your confidence lock in. And again, I'll share more about the lab shortly. But if you already know that you need this practice, this is the place where it sticks. It's like going to the gym for your communication. I think it costs even less than that. Alhamdulillah. So, again, very quickly, you have to understand your boundary yourself. Okay, repeat it for yourself in order to clarify it, and then you have to communicate it from a kind place. And you can use a simple phrasing like, when you do this, I feel this, and so I need this. That's one of the sentences that you can use in order to clarify a boundary. And as you can see, There's nothing hurtful in there. It comes from a place of kindness because you are trying to protect your relationship, and really, that's what we want to do as people and as Muslims, alhamdulillah. And now, the thing is that what we just did together, that's nothing. That's like just the beginning. It's easy to say a sentence here, but let's be honest, it's a completely different story when you're in real life and you're standing in front of your family with emotions probably running high, thoughts racing all over your head, right? And again, that's why inside the Confident Speaker Lab, we don't just talk about these tools, we actually practice them together every week. We role play these exact conversations as a community. Things like saying no respectfully, asking for space without guilt, speaking up with confidence to your family, but also in the work, maybe to a boss who is asking too much of you. Again, it's a gym for your communication. You show up, you put in the reps, and week by week, your voice just gets stronger. And you're not doing it alone. You're in a community of people on the same journey, supporting and encouraging each other. And that's incredibly empowering when you realize that you're not alone on this journey, but you have these people with you, and they can become close friends, and you can start building on your growth together, etc. Subhanallah, it's incredible to see. So if today gave you even a small taste of what's possible, imagine what happens when you commit and you practice this consistently, because that's where the real transformation happens. The link to join a community is in the description, but I'm going to also put it in the chat right here so that it's very, very easy. And I'd love for you to just click on the link and see what this is about, and then hopefully I'd see you inside and help take your communication and your confidence to the next level, inshallah, starting tomorrow, because our next session will be tomorrow, Thursday, at 8 p.m. UK time, inshallah. And we do this every week. Alhamdulillah. Do we have? I would love to hear you guys' question about this topic. We still have some time, alhamdulillah. So I would love to hear you guys' question about this topic. Maybe the issues that you have in your mind, maybe the yes, but what do you think? How do you think I can help you while I'm here practice setting up boundaries? Or even maybe you're asking yourself, yes, but this doesn't apply to my culture, and I can never say this to my parents or my cousins or my brothers. What do you guys think? Not many questions. I guess it's all right. It's just the first life. We'll be getting more and more of these, inshallah. Remember that we're going to be doing this weekly, inshallah. And so, as I say that, well, maybe unless you guys have questions, well, it's time to wrap things up. The key point that I want you to take away today, if you were to only take away one thing, is that boundaries don't push people away. Boundaries protect the relationship that you have with these people. It's only when you understand and respect your own limits that others learn to respect them too. And that can be a process, and that's okay. That's okay. You know why? because it's a much better process, much more beneficial and safer than the process of building that resentment over the years that can then completely destroy the relationship. And so your action step for this week is simple. Take the boundary sentence that you wrote earlier and just try it once. And that's it. See how it feels, notice the response, and just see the difference that it makes. And if you want to go further, then please join us at the Confident Speaker Lab. It's a place where you can practice, refine, and strengthen these conversations every week in a safe space. And basically, I don't want you to just leave this in theory. Come and practice with us, see how it is. I tried many ways to explain my views, but I find that my opinion gets ignored. Yes, I completely understand what you're talking about. I was that person, honestly. And it takes confidence in yourself. It takes practice, but sometimes it doesn't, because it took me years to build my confidence. Why? Because I didn't know how to do it. I was doing it by myself. And I had to practice in the real world. And that's why we did this. We did this so that you have a safe space where you can practice saying that and practice these conversations in order to be ready when you actually need to do so. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we practice more and we get you ready for the next conversation. But the important thing is that communication is not something that you learn from theory. You can watch 1,000 videos on YouTube, on TikTok about communication or confidence. You can watch, you can read a lot of books. Change can only start once you start practicing that change. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم صدق الله مولانا العظيم, which means Allah does not change a people until they bring that change upon themselves. So you have to have a space where you can practice these things, and I promise you that you will notice a big change, because I've seen it happen with all the people that we have in our sessions, alhamdulillah, or at least who've been coming to our sessions for a while. So yeah. Now, with that being said, this is not a one-off live session. Inshallah, you guys will be seeing more of me. Alhamdulillah. Hope that's good news. So mark your calendars. Same time every week, 9 p.m. UK time. Let's grow together step by step, inshallah. Our next session next week, next Wednesday, will be is going to be a powerful one, which is how to say no without feeling like the bad guy. So it's basically the continuation of what we talked about today. So, and I know that's a topic that's going to resonate with you guys. So I hope to see you there. Thank you for the reminder. It's true change should happen within ourselves first. Exactly. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So, like I said, thank you all so much for showing up, for engaging, and for being part of this space. May Allah bless you, protect your time, and give you the strength to stand firm with respect and compassion and protect your relationship. And again, if you're ready to take the next step, just maybe click on this link. Just check what's up. I'd love for you to see the inside of the lab and be on this journey with us. It's a subscription, so it's not something that is so hard to do. And we made it that way because we wanted to help as many people as possible. That's also why we're doing these live sessions. And if you accept, our next session will be tomorrow, Thursday, inshaAllah, inside the lab. With that being said, it was a pleasure to be here with you. It was Coach Muhammad from Muslim Mastery. I'll see you next time, inshaAllah. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.